to all for coming out today. The origins of this Memorial Day can be traced to the Civil War. Over a century and a half later, Memorial Day remains one of America's most cherished patriotic observances. The spirit of this day has not changed. It remains a day to honor those who died defending our freedom and democracy. But I am not here today to recite patriotic verses, to tell you things you already know, to give some rah-rah and send you home thinking, well, what was the point? Well, these types of speeches are important and certainly have their place. I think we could all use a little break from the politician's speech. I'm here today to make you think. You've demonstrated already by simply being here that you are doing your darndest to embody the patriotic spirit. But there's a lot more to it. Being an American is more than an identity. It is a duty. And it seems to me that a good chunk of the population may not quite realize that anymore. Over time, gratitude and thankfulness have shifted to an entitled mentality. The theme of this day, after all, is to remember. Memorial, by definition, is something established to help people remember someone, an event, or in this case, a concept. Certainly, it would be easy to argue me on this, that this day is simply a federal holiday in which fallen soldiers are remembered. While this is true, I also think it's more than that. Both my grandfathers were military men, one having been a pilot in the Army Air Corps during World War II, and the other serving in the Air Force for a time, and then serving 35 years in the Army Reserve. By the time I was born, only my latter grandfather was alive, and he was in the grips of a long battle with Parkinson's disease. When I was little, I remember sitting next to his bed, his mobility being very restricted and his speech forever silent. We would use a small whiteboard to communicate back and forth. I can remember learning to write and read, simple math problems, early stuff. One day, I remember practicing writing my name in cursive. After a couple times, my grandfather picked up the board and shakily wrote the following. With an arrow pointed at my neatly written cursive name, he wrote, "This is who you are, but never forget who you are." It took me a long time to understand the meaning of it, and I suppose it could mean a wide range of things to many different people, but to all of us, it has a meaning, and it has a place here today. We are here not only to remember those who sacrificed so much, but we are here to remember what they sacrificed it for. We know that honoring our veterans with words alone falls terribly short if we do not bring these words to life by honoring them equally with deeds worthy of their sacrifice. When we all walk away from here and go to various celebrations, when the weekend is over and all the flags come off the lampposts, we need to ask ourselves, what more can we do to honor their legacy? How can we give them something more than a ceremony and a moment's gratitude? Each reason for serving is specific for each veteran. But if a theme can be drawn, it is to protect the great nation in which we live and the freedoms we possess. But we as citizens also have a duty to protect these freedoms, although maybe not in the same manner. As a collective identity, we are Americans, but what is the meaning this word has? You call yourself an American, but are you an American? What constitutes an American? Not color, nor race, nor religion. Not the pedigree of his family, nor the place of his birth. Not the coincidence of his citizenship, not his social status, nor his bank account. not his trade, nor his profession. An American is one who loves justice and believes in the dignity of man. An American is one who will fight for his or her freedom and that of his or her neighbor. An American is one who will sacrifice his or her property, ease, and security in order that he and his children may retain the rights of free men and women. An American is one whose heart is engraved with the immortal second sentence of the Declaration of Independence. But we, as Americans, have lost our way. It has become the mass rather than the minority that takes the rights and freedoms so valuable to past generations for granted. Remember with me now the words of Patrick Henry. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as it to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what other course may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Today, friends, our fight is not always against a visible foe. The chains that threaten to bind us are complacency, ignorance, and perhaps most dangerous, assumption. We as Americans must exercise our rights to avoid being what Thomas Paine called a summer and sunshine patriots. What I mean by this is, we as Americans have a duty to carry out the duties entrusted to us by our founding documents and previous generations. If we allow ourselves to assume these freedoms are free, go through the motions by spending 2, maybe 3 days a year honoring veterans, selecting candidates because they have a cool name or because they belong to a specific party, allowing your voice to go unheard because the public forum is on Grey's Anatomy night. If we allow ourselves to slip, all that these men and women have fought for and given so much for, all that our past generations have accomplished, will be for nothing. So I ask you on this day of remembrance to remember what it means to be an American. And as an American, do what you can do. No, do what you must do to help our soldiers, our veterans, and our fallen loved ones accomplish their duty to continue to uphold and better this great nation. Thank you.